It's time to get out of bed for some out of pocket. It's OP in the AM, everybody. Good morning on this Tuesday. Sorry for taking a little extended 4-day weekend, but we had to digest some stuff happening in life and some of the stuff that happened over the weekend. Slash, if I'd went on here what I really wanted to and talk trash about Darian Mensah entering the transfer portal, I would have offended a lot of people. But instead, I'm just going to offend the Buffalo Bills because they fired Sean McDermott after a 33-30 loss in overtime this past weekend to the 1 seed Denver Broncos. You heard that right. Out Pocket returned a couple weeks back, and we returned right after Black Monday. You know, this coach fired, this coach fired, this coach fired, this coach fired. And then we started to see more coaches fired. We started to see John Harbaugh fired. Oh, that was big. Miami's like, hey, maybe we need to get in the sweepstakes. Let's fire Mike McDaniel. Okay. Last week, Mike Tomlin informs the team, hey, I'm stepping away. I'm not going to be the coach anymore. And now we have Sean McDermott fired by the Buffalo Bills. Now, I do want to make record of this because I do want to be very transparent when it comes to what I've said on this podcast previously. I said that if the Buffalo Bills were to lose the wild card round in Jacksonville against the Jaguars, then Sean McDermott was likely not going to be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. I said that, and I take full ownership of what I said. In that regard, Sean McDermott was fired after losing the following week. After not reaching the AFC Championship game, the Buffalo Bills lost to the Denver Broncos on the road in a very tough environment and are not in the playoffs anymore after going 12-5, placing second in the AFC East division, and they're seeing their division rivals, the New England Patriots, without Tom Brady, without Bill Belichick, and the new Mike Vrabel and Drake May era compete against the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game. You know, it could have been Buffalo trying to stop their division rivals, the Patriots, but they don't have a chance. They are sitting home on the sideline. Now, let me tell you why this is a little different of what I said a couple weeks ago. What I said about Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills, because circumstances have changed. That's how quickly the sports world changes. Before I get into that, I want to share with you Sean McDermott and the impact he has had on this Buffalo Bills team. Okay? He was a long time coach and coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. Ever since 2001, he was there for the Donovan McNabb years. He was there for the Michael Vick years. I mean, running that defense for as long as he did, assistant to the head coach, defensive assistant in quality control, linebackers coach, DBs coach, defensive coordinator. He goes to the Carolina Panthers and is there for the Luke Kuechly years, the Thomas Davis years. He was there 2011 to 2016. The Buffalo Bills back in 2017 were like, hey, let's kick the tires on Sean McDermott. He's done a fantastic job as the defensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers, even helping them to a Super Bowl 50 appearance. Let's have Sean McDermott come in and try to coach us to some winning seasons. And he did that. His only losing season was his second year in 2018. The Buffalo Bills went 6-10. But the year prior to that was his first year as a head coach in the NFL, and the team went 9-7. They lost to the Jaguars in the AFC wildcard game, and that was a little bit of what I was saying a couple weeks back, that if Sean McDermott was to lose to the Jaguars in the AFC wildcard game, then there would be questions. Because you look at the landscape of the AFC. Guess who wasn't in the playoffs this year? The Kansas City Chiefs weren't. Patrick Mahomes was sitting at home. The Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson was sitting at home. Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow were sitting at home. So this opened the door to perhaps the best, no, scratch that, the best quarterback on the AFC side and perhaps the best quarterback on either side of this playoff bracket. This opened the door for the Buffalo Bills, even as a wild card team, to reach the Super Bowl and at minimum reach the AFC Championship game. That's what this meant by no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson. And of course, the expectations were there. There's been twice that Sean McDermott has reached the AFC Championship game and fell short, both times to the Kansas City Chiefs, both times after a 13-win season. But even without Patrick Mahomes, they are without an AFC Championship appearance. But let me tell you what they did do under Sean McDermott as a head coach. 2019, 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25. This is not only 7 consecutive winning seasons, not only 7 consecutive playoff appearances, but 7 consecutive times you have won double-digit games in a season. This was also 6 straight years with a playoff victory. This wasn't like the Buffalo Bills were one and done in the playoffs year after year after year. Sean McDermott has playoff success to show. 8-8, 500, a couple AFC Championship appearances. Of course, you'd want to get to the Super Bowl. But Sean McDermott got them in the dance. The Buffalo Bills weren't that great before. If you remember, I remember, the Buffalo Bills were not that great. The Chan Gailey years, the Ryan Fitzpatrick years, the Tyrod Taylor was, briefly. The Buffalo Bills were terrible. They were atrocious. They were awful. Gag just thinking about it. What was it? 17-year playoff drought? And everybody talks about the Dallas Cowboys, not making it to the Super Bowl in 30 years or whatever. The Bills lost 2 of those Super Bowls to the Cowboys. As a matter of fact, they lost 4 straight Super Bowls and haven't been back since. So for Buffalo Bills fans, it was pretty sad. And for the Cowboys, yes, you've had the Giants win 2 Super Bowls. You've had the Philadelphia Eagles win 2 Super Bowls. But the Buffalo Bills had to sit through Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And even for a brief stint set through the Sanchez years, that was getting them into the AFC title game. So for Sean McDermott to come in, instantly get his team in the playoffs, only miss the playoffs 1 season, and then not look back. I mean, dude had 5 consecutive AFC East titles. Aside from this year, because the New England Patriots played a cupcake schedule and played the easiest schedule in the world and lucked out with a second-year quarterback in Drake May, a decent defense coached by defensive mastermind Mike Vrabel, and win 14 games, almost on a fluke. Almost on a fluke. And for the things that stacked up for Sean McDermott in no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson. For what to set up now with, well, Patriots did have a really good season, so that prevented the Buffalo Bills from probably win their division again. A home playoff game in a farewell season to their old stadium. The Buffalo Bills still could have made noise in the postseason this year. And I'm not discarding that at all. Could they have almost lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars last week? Yes. Were there some questionable calls that went Buffalo's way? Yes. So do I say, hey, well, that was a interception? No, it was a completed catch. It would have put Buffalo into kicking territory and they would have won the game then. Well, no, that was the right call. Also, Dallas Cowboys, Dez caught it. Sometimes calls go your way, sometimes calls don't go your way. The calls for Buffalo didn't go their way. But I would also say that in a 33-30 loss, that wasn't why you lost. I mean, if you can recall, Josh Allen, MVP candidate, best quarterback on the field, best quarterback in the playoffs, was not the best quarterback that day. 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles, and lost 2 of those. James Cook lost. I mean, this is insane how much the Buffalo Bills would turn the ball over. You can't begin to tell me that you can turn over the ball 5 times in the playoffs, 4 times by your starting quarterback, and I'll get to that in a second, and you're on the road against the best defense in the NFL and one of the toughest environments to play in, and you expect to win the game. If you told me that you're playing the number 1 defense on the road in the playoffs, a 1 seed, mind you, and you turn the ball over 5 times, you know what I'm saying? Oh, wow, Buffalo got stomped. But at the same time, they only lost by 3 in overtime. So you're telling me the Buffalo Bills had a chance until the very, very end. The Buffalo Bills lost this game to a 1 seed Denver Broncos who had a phenomenal defense. And yeah, things didn't go your way. Some calls didn't go your way. Your superstar MVP caliber quarterback couldn't protect the ball and gave up possessions that could have altered this game tremendously, but helps orchestrate a 4th quarter comeback to even force overtime. Helps orchestrate a second half comeback. They were down 20-10 at halftime and slowly creep back to make it 30-30 at the end of regulation. But let's be honest, Josh Allen is not always going to be coughing up the ball. Josh Allen had 18 interceptions a couple years ago, but Josh Allen this year, 3,600 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The year prior, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Josh Allen is not going to play like that every game, every year. Was it unfortunate timing? Yes, but it was also against a stout defense. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I feel like if the Buffalo Bills lost to the New England Patriots this past weekend, Sean McDermott, I would have justified firing him. But for him to lose against Denver on the road with Josh Allen's turnovers that Sean McDermott had no control over, I don't believe this was right for Sean McDermott to get fired. Because not only is Sean McDermott 98-50, he's winning 2/3 of his games, getting you into the playoffs for 7 consecutive years, 8 of his 9 seasons in Buffalo. but he's winning playoff games. It's not like he's a one and done. And he's gotten this team elevated. Look at this Buffalo Bills roster. Look at what he had to work with, because it's not good. James Cook coughing up the ball more than a kid coughs up the flu in kindergarten in January. You have Khalil Shakir as your number one receiver. Gabe Davis on IR. Josh Palmer on IR. Brandon Cooks is your number two because Keon Coleman hasn't stepped up. Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox are your better tight ends. The offensive line really wasn't helping Josh Allen get the ball out. And some of the absolute dumbest plays on defense. Joey Bosa with his late hit on Bo Nix. Tre'Davious White throwing a fit. One, holding guys. Number two, pitching a fit, costing his team another 15 yards in front of the referee. Just boneheaded plays by the defense, who are putting your team at a bigger deficit than you need to be in a close playoff game on the road. So Sean McDermott doesn't get any help. Sean McDermott won a playoff game last week. Sean McDermott's star players and Josh Allen, James Cook, who should be elevating your team, is setting your team back because they can't protect the football. And you're going to put the blame on Sean McDermott for that? Okay, so Michael, why'd you say Sean McDermott deserved to be fired if they lost against the Jaguars? Well, that would have been one and done. That would have been repeating your very first season where you lost in the AFC wildcard game to the Jaguars. So what progress have you really made for this talented team, who honestly in previous years had more talent then than they do now? I mean, you can't tell me that Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs wasn't as good as Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir. But more so than that, you look at what happened a couple weeks ago. John Harbaugh got fired. Yeah. After missing the playoffs, John Harbaugh got fired. John Harbaugh was the best coaching candidate on the market, to where you put John Harbaugh and Josh Allen together. You know what? Let's try it out. But now John Harbaugh is signed with the New York Giants. He wasn't looking for a team steal. If Sean McDermott was fired today and John Harbaugh was still without a job, you know what? I'm okay with it. But the Buffalo Bills decide not to ride with Sean McDermott even after this news about John Harbaugh. And so whenever you fire your coach, you are immediately saying that there is better out there. Who is that better? Mike Tomlin. If you really want to get a good defense, Mike Tomlin could work out having Mike Tomlin and Mike Vrabel battle head to head, but you need somebody offensively who can really help Josh Allen. You can't let Josh Allen at this stage of his career, going on 30 years old, you can't let him regress. So you need somebody who's going to challenge him and push him and help him protect the football, as well as James Cook. If you don't even look somewhere else for a running back who can actually hold on to the football, that's like half your job. Half your job as a running back is to protect the football and fall forwards. Protect the ball, fall forwards. James Cook couldn't do that. But John Harbaugh is gone. So you look at Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's even talking about potentially not even coaching this year and taking a year off, stepping away from the team. And Buffalo might be a job that actually lures him in. You have Mike McCarthy, who could be in a spot in Buffalo, but is he elevating this team past what Sean McDermott did? Because Mike McCarthy, as much as I like Mike McCarthy, and I could see him holding one of the 32 coaching jobs in the NFL. Let's be honest, after his Super Bowl, he's been to 2 NFC Championship games, never been back to the Super Bowl, has missed the playoffs 4 of the last 7 years he's coached, combining his final 2 years in Green Bay and his 5 years in Dallas. Mike McCarthy isn't better than Sean McDermott, and Mike McCarthy's not proven himself to not only get his team in the playoffs, but win a playoff game. He was 1-3 in those 3 seasons with Dallas in the playoffs. An atrocious game to the Green Bay Packers and 2 really bad clock management games against the 49ers after 12-win seasons. So for Mike McCarthy to get this job, that's a setback for the Buffalo Bills. And so beyond Mike McCarthy, who are you going to get? Are you looking at a fired coach who might know Josh Allen well? Looking at former Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll. But you look at what Brian Daboll did with the New York Giants, 20-40-1, won a third of his games, and finished 3rd or 4th in the NFC East each year with 1 playoff appearance, his first season, a 9-7-1 record before they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round. Do you bring Daboll back to have that familiarity with Josh Allen? Because looking at the rest of the candidates, I don't see Andy Reid getting fired now because he's not getting fired. Mike McDaniel got fired from Miami. Is he the guy to give the answers to Josh Allen? There's so many questions when it comes to what the Buffalo Bills need. And it's hard because I don't see anyone overtaking Sean McDermott and his winning record and his winning ways, but I also can't see anyone being a leader in that locker room. What I saw over the weekend with Josh Allen and his offensive lineman, I believe it was Deion Dawkins, who Josh Allen was like, I let my team down. Deion Dawkins, like, he didn't let my team down, man. He didn't let my team down. Oh. You can tell, and Sean McDermott's at the podium and fighting for his guys with a fire and a passion in his soul, just knowing how much that loss hurt, and then he doesn't have an opportunity to fix that next year. The Chiefs could continue falling off. The Ravens, who just fired their head coach, may not have a coach who jives with Lamar Jackson. So it's to say that Buffalo missed their window this year because the Chiefs were out and the Ravens were out. You look at the rest of the AFC, if the Chiefs don't recover, if the Ravens still don't bite their playoff bug because Lamar hasn't been perfect in the playoffs, then you just let go of a coach who led you to back playoff seasons with a playoff win to go alongside it. They were not one and done in these playoffs. I'm baffled because there's not a coach who can replace Sean McDermott on the field, on the sidelines, in the locker room. That's going to be a good fit and instill confidence in the rest of this locker room because you guys are close. The Buffalo Bills are close. In fact, they had this many wins. The fact they had 12 wins this year with this roster is a testament to what Sean McDermott did, and still to ooze out of them a playoff victory on the road. They just couldn't do it twice in a week against the number one defense, against the number one seed in overtime. When your quarterback's coughing up the ball, when your running back's coughing up the ball, when your defense isn't taking the ball away. Buffalo, I'm so sorry. I know a few Buffalo Bills fans, and I am so sorry that you are going to have to go through this, and you are going to have to watch the New England Patriots play the Denver Broncos. Denver, who took you out of the playoffs, and New England, who has ran the AFC during the Tom Brady years and is one game away from going back to the Super Bowl if they can beat Jared Stidham. This is not a good look for the Bills organization. You have to hit a home run, and it's not about hitting a home run and then giving them time to prove they can do it. You're asking a first-year head coach to capitalize on the window now and go win a Super Bowl next year, or at the very least, reach the Super Bowl. That's what you're asking a first-year head coach to do when you fire a guy like Sean McDermott and his resume that he left Buffalo with. Don't be surprised. One of these head coach openings are going to be filled with Sean McDermott. I have a lot of Carolina Panther fans who are like, hey, actually, we could really use, a defensive coordinator and fire Ejiro Evero. Well, the Cardinals, the Ravens, I wouldn't be surprised if Sean McDermott gets reached out by the Ravens, the Browns, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Steelers. Sean McDermott is going to fill one of those jobs. And the only reason I didn't mention Buffalo is they were the actual team who fired him. Sean McDermott's going to be a head coach in the NFL next year, and well-deserved. Win 2/3 of your games, win playoff a game each year. Yeah, you can be a head coach in the NFL because it's all about timing. It's about a little bit of luck, and it's about your players actually executing on the field. Sean McDermott was not responsible for any of those turnovers, and now he's paying the price, and he's the scapegoat. And it's sad because when are we going to hold quarterbacks accountable like we hold some other quarterbacks accountable? And I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Dak Prescott gets tarnished because where's the playoff success? Where's the Josh Allen? Choke job in these playoffs. Justin Herbert, choke job in these playoffs. CJ Stroud, choke job in these playoffs. Lamar wasn't even in the playoffs. When are we going to hold these quarterbacks to the same standard versus letting their coaches be the scapegoat? Just a thought. I'm not out of pocket for it. Josh Allen should be held accountable. Yeah, he was kind of right to be crying at the press conference because, yeah, you let your team down. You had 5 turnovers. Your offensive lineman loves you, but he's biased. He's blind. Love is blind. Josh Allen, you did. If the blame is to be put on one person, it is Josh Allen. Can't turn the ball over 5 times and win games and playoff games on the road against a great defense. Sean McDermott's the only reason they were in overtime. And I'm not out of pocket for saying that. And I'm also not out of pocket for saying you guys should subscribe to Boom Broadcasting because Out of Pocket will be back tomorrow, and we have a lot of other great shows, quick hits, 3 from deep, 3 times a week now, dugout debrief. It stinks. We got nightcaps when Raw's not on at 3 p.m. Eastern time. You can't do a nightcap in the afternoon. Doesn't even sound right. And beyond other really great shows on Boom Broadcasting, you should really check it out. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe. But get on with your Tuesday morning, afternoon. Thank you for letting us be your drive to work. Get there safely, and we'll be back tomorrow.